Hey guys, TrueGreen7 here, and after getting deep into Generation 7 and all of its awesome additions to the Pokemon world, I really started to think about what features will be known as some of the greatest in Pokemon history, and which lovable additions to the main game would just be forgotten about in the future. But since I'm not a psychic, and believe me, I tried, we're gonna stay in the present and talk about the features throughout all of Pokemon history that are 100% amazing, but aren't appreciated as much as they should be. All of these features are loved, but most of them are taken for granted. Modern Pokemon fans wouldn't have been able to live without my top 3 entries. Keep in mind that this list has a combination of features, characters, and mechanics. I'm not talking about specific Pokemon that are underrated or characters that I like, but rather things that affect my gameplay experience in general, and not just at one point in the game. For example, double battles are a huge part of competitive gameplay, but we don't go out of our way to praise how fun they are. Keep in mind that I purposely left out some features that you love, like Pokemon following you, Poke Rides, the battle with Red, abilities, the Battle Frontier, or the Johto postgame, because these features are definitely not underrated. People talk about them every day. But how about we get onto the list so you understand more? Number 10. Seasons. Hey, I live in New York City, so I know a thing or two about how distinct the 4 seasons are in the northern East Coast. Since Unova is based on my hometown, it was pretty awesome that they would implement such a feature in the game. But while I have to endure 3 months of freezing cold and 3 months of burning heat, the Unova citizens get 1 month per season, and this change in climate allows the player to access new locations via piled leaves, snow or melted snow, changes in the forms of Pokemon, locations of characters, availability of items, in-battle weather effects, and most importantly, the music. Almost every route had a different instrument based on the season, and it was awesome to see the colors change throughout the whole region. Hey, that kinda rhymed. This feature may have been the most thoughtful aesthetic change in the whole series, and it really made the Unova region immersive. I wish this feature could come back, but at least the region that features this feature is the one that makes the most sense to have seasons. Number 9. Destinee Knot. Have a seat, kids. Okay, I didn't know I was gonna talk to you about this so early on, but it's time for you to learn about IVs. So when a daddy Pokemon and a mommy Pokemon love each other very, very much, they have a baby Pokemon. Every Pokemon is born with a different amount of IVs or individual values for each of the 6 stats, which makes every Pokemon unique in its fighting ability, so no 2 Mudkips are the same, even if they have the same nature and ability. The maximum value is 31 for a specific stat, so if you breed a Pokemon you usually get 3 random IVs from its parents. The other 3 will be unique to that baby, but starting from Generation 6, if a Destinee Knot is held by a Pokemon in the daycare, 5 of the parents' combined 12 IVs will be passed down to the child. This is super helpful if the parents have perfect IVs and if you want to breed a Pokemon as strong as its parents. This is a godlike tool for breeders, and I'm sure they thank Arceus, Helix, and Tapu Koko every day for this red thread. You know, I probably got all of that information wrong. Number 8. The Unova Gym Leaders. So before Generation 5, gym leaders were just trainers who trained and got swole in their gyms all day every day. Of course a gym leader or 2 in each region interacted with you and showed some semblance of life outside of gym battling, like Jasmine, Giovanni, Watson, and others. But the rest were never seen outside of their gyms doing anything important. But in Unova, every single gym leader was part of the plot somehow and helped you out. Except for these 3. They had jobs and interests and didn't sit around while some kid took care of terrorists. In Black and White, this all culminated in the gym leaders helping you take on Team Plasma at the climax of the story. This made them memorable, and it also helped that Unova gym leaders were relatively hard. Elisa's Emolga and Lenora's Watchog put up a fight. Extra detail was even given to the different gym music in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, and the music that plays when the gym leader's last Pokemon is chosen. I would not take you seriously if you think that Gen 5 had lazy gym leaders. Number 7. The Underground and Secret Bases. I decided to combine these 2 because you can make secret bases in the Sinnoh Underground. Cause after digging for some stones and plates, I like to nestle into my secret base and cuddle with my Pokemon. Now super secret bases are amazing. I love how they gave you a way to gain experience, heal your Pokemon in the middle of a route, and decorate with a good amount of items. I have a good time, a jolly good time indeed, making a unique secret base that suits my personal taste. Hey, another rhyme! And digging for fossils, plates, rocks, and stones were just a good idea in general, and the underground feature was done flawlessly. Super secret bases were such an improvement in OS that I can't wait to see how awesome the Super Underground will be in the Generation 4 remakes. Maybe it'll be called the Deep Underground or the Dank Underground, cause it's pretty dank there. Number 6. The Pokemon World Tournament! I'm gonna try to leave the awesome music out of the point I want to make, but come on, that music though, it's amazing. But really, I don't understand how people don't talk about the Pokemon World Tournament as much as other post-game features, since the bulk of it is unlocked after the main game. You get to battle every single gym leader and champion from Gens 1 to 5, and they're actually incredibly hard. I know someone's gonna say, "Pfft, come on Ron, they were easy." But to me, they were too challenging. This makes me respect every gym leader even more. Like the Battle Frontier, I still haven't beaten the World Tournament, so I've never battled in the champion rounds. From my personal experience, I barely even beat the Johto tournament because my last battle is always against Claire, and I just don't have any Dragon or Ice types. It's no Battle Frontier, but this tournament is one of the many reasons Black 2 is one of my favorite games ever, and I would love to see this feature come back in the future. Number 5. The Destinee sneaking mechanic. So in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you can acquire the Destinee, which allows you to search for specific Pokemon that you've caught and then sneak up on them. This mechanic significantly improved upon the mechanic of catching Pokemon. No longer do I just run around in hopes of encountering the Pokemon which I desire. I am now a civilized man. I take matters into my own hands, and then with modern day technology, I can interactively search for Pokemon. But seriously, this made catching Pokemon incredibly fun. The Destinee should be among the list of additions to Pokemon that changed the experience of the existing formula, like Mega Evolution, the Island Challenge, or abilities. It sucks that we don't have it in Generation 7. Number 4. Constant animations. I think people take for granted that for 4 generations, Pokemon didn't constantly move in battle. Watching a battle wasn't fun. It was like watching a picture with occasional effects. Of course, if you're the one battling, it's super intense, but to a viewer, this isn't engaging. Generation 5 changed this, and it was at that time that I believe competitive battling became bearable to watch. And by Generation 6, it was fun to watch people battling. I really think the graphical jump to constant animations isn't appreciated as much as it should be. It was a great transition to the perfect animations and art style of Generation 6 and 7. Number 3. Pokemon music. On my channel, I have a series in which I review and showcase underrated Pokemon themes. I've also made a few top 10s, 15s, and 20s about Pokemon music. From the numerous comments that I've read, no seriously, I've read like all of them, I can understand that a good amount of people didn't appreciate the music of Pokemon games until I brought them to light. A lot of people even told me that they always just played with the volume off. To me, this is unfathomable because I actually go out of my way to listen to the music when I play. Most of the times I play with earphones so I can hear the music clearly, considering how Junichi Masuda's team worked really hard to implement Gen 4's music differences based on time of day, or Gen 5's music differences based on seasons, your movement in certain routes, and even adding instruments based on who you talk to in Black and White. The music of new Pokemon games is a huge thing that I look forward to every time I first play them. I even have over 1,000 Pokemon themes, covers, remasters, and remixes on my phone and computer, and I listen to them every day when I work or play. Well, we're killing it with the rhymes today, and I really do urge you guys to appreciate the music in Pokemon. It's objectively great. Number 2. Running shoes. Did you guys forget that we couldn't run until Generation 3? I mean, that's kind of the reason I don't enjoy playing the first 2 generations anymore. This is the most underrated item in Pokemon, and regions are just getting bigger, so walking everywhere would make me kill myself. I guess we just got used to running. Maybe the bike should be part of this entry too. You know what's underrated? Honorable mentions. These are the features that I love but are rarely talked about. All of these don't really contribute to the main game in a huge way but are still 100% positive. Diving is a really beautiful feature and expands the world of Pokemon below sea level. Like soaring, it's one reason I think Hoenn is the most diverse region. Pokepelago is fantastic. It's a great way to farm berries, find items, and feel perfectly fine about depositing your Pokemon in the PC. The hardware that came with the first 2 Pokemon remakes weren't even close to gimmicky. I used the wireless adapter that came with Fire Red and Leaf Green to this day, and the Pokewalker that came with Heart Gold and Soul Silver are known as the most accurate pedometers in history. And finally, seeing trainers in the background of battles was a welcomed cosmetic addition to Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's highly immersive and has no drawbacks whatsoever. Number 1. The Physical Special Split. So before Gen 4, Pokemon moves were not physical or special based on whether or not they made contact, but rather by their type. For example, all normal type moves were physical, even Hyper Beam, and all dragon type moves were special, even Dragon Claw. Everything changed when Generation 4 attacked. Did I say attacked? I meant answered our prayers. Kind of the opposite of attacked. Now moves and stats make sense, and I believe the Great Split of 2006, or 2007 outside of Japan, was one of the greatest additions to Pokemon. When it was introduced, people were praising it, but nowadays it's taken for granted because people are so used to it. Now, there are plenty more underrated features in Pokemon. These are just the ones that I wanted to get more praise. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I urge you. No, seriously. I'm gonna beg. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm begging you to follow me on Facebook and Twitter for some more happy fun times. But for now, just check out the videos on the side. They're better than this one. I'll see you guys very soon.